Hello guys, this is Sir EJ and welcome again for another math tutorial. In today's topic, we will be discussing all about quadratic inequalities. These are the following objectives we need to attain for today's topic. Letter A. Differentiate quadratic inequalities from quadratic equations. Letter B. Find the solution set of quadratic inequalities algebraically and graphically. And letter C. Illustrate quadratic inequalities in different forms. Let's find the difference between the quadratic inequality and quadratic equation. So, we have the given equation for the quadratic inequality x squared plus 2x is less than 2. And for our quadratic equation, we have a given equation x squared plus 2x is equal to 2. The similarity between the quadratic inequality and quadratic equation is they have the same degree. So their degree is equal to 2. So they have the same exponent. And when it comes to their difference, ang pagkakaiba nila is yung symbol nila. Pagdating sa quadratic inequality, ang mga symbol na ginagamit natin ay yung less than, greater than, less than or equal, or greater than or equal. Pagdating naman sa quadratic equation, ang symbol lang na ginagamit natin ay yung equal sign. Pagdating naman sa parts ng quadratic inequality, parehas lang siya sa parts ng ating quadratic equation. So yung ax squared natin, ang tawag dyan ay quadratic term. Yung bx, ang tawag naman dyan ay linear term, while yung c is called the constant term. So they have the same parts. So let us define what is a quadratic inequality. So when we say quadratic inequality, it has only one variable, like a quadratic equation. It is an inequality that has a polynomial of degree 2 and can be written in any of the following forms. So it can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c is greater than 0, or ax squared plus bx plus c is less than 0. Another one is ax squared plus bx plus c greater than or equal to 0. And also ax squared plus bx plus c is less than or equal to 0, where the numerical coefficients are all real numbers and the value of a must not be equal to 0. Let's have the following activity. So let's try to identify if the following equations illustrate quadratic inequality or not. Put a check mark if the following examples illustrate quadratic inequality. Put an X mark if it does not illustrate a quadratic inequality. The first equation is a squared minus 2a plus 5 is equal to 0. So it is raised to the second power, then we have an equal sign. Therefore, it does not illustrate a quadratic inequality. Then, for our second example, we have 2y squared plus 5y minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. So we have an exponent 2 on our quadratic term, and we have a symbol which is greater than or equal. So therefore, this illustrates a quadratic inequality. Number 2, we have m squared plus 2m plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 2. So we have an exponent 2, and we have a symbol which is less than or equal. Therefore, this illustrates a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have p squared minus 5p minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. Again, we have an exponent 2 here, and we have a symbol which is less than or equal. Therefore, this illustrates a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have s cubed minus 3s minus 7 is less than or equal to 0. So our exponent here is raised to the third power, or 3. Therefore, this is not a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have 5t minus 6 less than or equal to 0. So our leading term is 5t. So the exponent of our leading term is only 1. Therefore, this is not a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have c squared plus 6c plus 8 is greater than 0. So our exponent here is raised to the second power. We have a greater than symbol. Therefore, this illustrates a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have c squared minus 5z minus 6 is equal to 0. Our exponent is raised to the second power, but we have an equal symbol here. So this is not a quadratic inequality. Next one, we have 15b minus 3 is equal to 5. So our exponent on our leading term is only 1 raised to the first power, and we have an equal symbol here. Therefore, this is not a quadratic inequality. So let's have an example on how to find the solution sets in a quadratic inequalities. In solving for the solution set of a quadratic inequalities, we must simply apply what we have learned about quadratic equation on how to solve for the roots of the quadratic equation. So we will be applying the same steps on how to solve for the solution sets of a quadratic inequalities. So let's have our first example. So we have x squared plus 9x plus 14 is greater than 0. So our first step is we need to equate this by 0. So alisin muna natin yung greater than symbol, papalitan muna natin ng equal sign. Then we will solve this using factoring method or any methods to solve quadratic equations. But I'll be solving this using the factoring method para mabilis lang. So ang factors niya is the quantity x plus 7 times the quantity x plus 2. So factors ng x squared ay x times x, and then factors ng 14 is 7 times 2. Then pag pinag-add dapat, positive 9. So ito yung mga factors. No? Shortcut na lang natin kasi tapos na nating i-discuss yung factoring method on our previous video. Then pag nakuha na yung mga factor natin, na-apply natin yung zero product property. So yung x plus 7, lalagyan lang natin ng equal 0. Then yung x plus 2, ganun din, lalagyan din natin ng equal 0. Transpose yung positive 7 magiging negative 7, positive 2 magiging negative 2. So after nating makuha yung boundary points natin or critical values using the factoring method, so yung x is equal to negative 7 and x is equal to negative 2, i-graph natin para makita natin yung ating solution set. So makikita natin dito, this one will be negative 7 and this one will be negative 2. Ang gagawin natin dito is we will substitute negative 7 with our equation x squared plus 9x plus 14 is greater than 0 para matest natin kung masasatisfy natin yung equation natin. So we have the quantity negative 7 raised to the second power plus 9 times the quantity negative 7 plus 14 is greater than 0. Negative 7 raised to the second power is positive 49. 9 times negative 7 is equal to negative 63. Bring down 14 greater than 0. 49 minus 63 is equal to negative 14. Plus 14 is equal to 0. So we have 0 greater than 0, which is false. It does not satisfy the given condition. So 0 is not greater than 0. Instead, 0 is equal to 0. So if it is false, therefore, these values are not included. Ibig sabihin, yung mga value na nasa gitna, kasama yung negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, hanggang negative 2 ay hindi kasama sa ating solution set. So ano yung magiging mga solution set natin? How about if x is equal to negative 8? Ito ba ay sasama sa ating solution set? And so we have negative 8 raised to the second power plus 9 times negative 8 plus 14 is greater than 0. So negative 8 to the second power is positive 64. 9 times negative 8 is equal to negative 72 plus 14 is greater than 0. So 64 minus 72 is equal to negative 8. Negative 8 plus 14 is positive 6. So 6 is greater than 0. So therefore, this is true. So if x is equal to negative 8, then the values are included. Negative 8 is included. And obviously, all the numbers that is less than negative 8 is also included. Negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, and so on and so forth. How about in this side of the equation? If x is equal to negative 1, so let's try negative 1, substitute. So you have negative 1 to the second power plus 9 times negative 1 plus 14 is greater than 0. So I have negative 1 to the second power is positive 1. 9 times negative 1 is equal to negative 9 plus 14 is greater than 0. So 1 minus 9 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 14 is positive 6. So 6 is greater than 0. Therefore, the values are also included. So kasama din yung negative 1. So if that is the case, kung kasama yung negative 1, all the numbers which is greater than negative 1 is also included. So negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. Lahat ng mga numbers na mataas sa negative 1. So those are the solution set. So therefore, the solution set of x squared plus 9x plus 14 greater than 0, which has a boundary points of negative 7 and negative 2, for its set notation, so x such that x is less than negative 7 or x is greater than negative 2. For the interval notation, the values of x are between negative 7 and negative infinity. Union between negative 2 and positive infinity. So these are the solution sets of this equation. So let's have another example. So this time, palitan lang natin yung equation ng inequality symbol. So this time, magiging greater than or equal. Tingnan natin yung magiging pagkakaiba. They have the same boundary points. X is equal to negative 7, x is equal to negative 2. So nandito yung negative 7, nandito yung negative 2. Pero mapapansin nyo dito, poles except negative 7 and negative 2. Kanina, yung negative 7, poles din siya. Pati negative 2, poles din siya. Pero this time, kapag ang inequality symbol niya ay greater than or equal, ang negative 7 at negative 2 ay magiging true. So let's try to solve it. Tingnan natin kung tama ba talaga. Using the equation x squared plus 9x plus 14 is greater than or equal to 0. Let's substitute the value of negative 7 to the second power plus 9 times negative 7 plus 14 greater than or equal to 0. Negative 7 to the second power is positive 49. 9 times negative 7 is negative 63 plus 14 greater than or equal to 0. 49 minus 63 is negative 14 plus 14 greater than or equal to 0. Negative 14 plus 14 is equal to 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to 0. So therefore, yung negative 7 natin is also true. So tama, no? False except negative 7. How about yung negative 2? Try natin yung negative 2. So we have negative 2 raised to the second power plus 9 times negative 2 plus 14 is greater than or equal to 0. So negative 2 to the second power is positive 4. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18 plus 14 greater than or equal to 0. 4 minus 18 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 14 is equal to 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to 0. So tama na included yung negative 2. So ibig sabihin yung mga false natin is yung mga numbers in between negative 7 and negative 2. So negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, and negative 3. So try tayo ng isa para makita nyo na false talaga siya. So let's try negative 3. negative 3 to the second power plus 9 times negative 3 plus 14 is greater than or equal to 0. So yeah, negative 3 to the second power is positive 9. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27 plus 14 is greater than or equal to 0. 9 plus 14 is 23. 23 minus 27 is negative 4. So negative 4 is greater than or equal to 0. So this is false. No? This is dapat less than. So yun, nakita natin na false talaga. And then yung mga true natin dito, yung mga values na included sa solution set, yung negative 2, negative 1, yung mga number na mataas sa negative 2. Then sa kabila naman, we have negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, and so on. So yung mga numbers na mababa or equal sa negative 7. So sulat na natin yung solution set natin. Pag sinulat natin yung solution set natin sa set notation, ganito lang isulat. So x such that x is less than or equal to negative 7 or x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Pag interval notation naman, the values of x are from negative 7 to negative infinity. Yun from negative 2 to positive infinity. So let's have our next example. This time, palitan ulit natin yung symbol. Magiging less than or equal na siya. So kanina greater than or equal. So they have the same boundary points since same lang naman tong equation na to. X squared plus 9x plus 14. So x will be equal to negative 7. Then yung isa is equal to negative 2. So tingnan natin kung ano yung mangyayari dito pag less than or equal. So pag less than or equal to, so yung mga value na negative 7 hanggang negative 2 ay kasama sa ating solution set. So ito yung magiging solution set natin. So pag less than or equal to yung symbol natin. So i-test natin kung magiging tama yung solution set natin. Substitute lang natin yung negative 7 sa ating equation. So negative 7 raised to the second power plus 9 times negative 7 plus 14 is less than or equal to 0. Negative 7 to the second power is positive 49. 9 times negative 7 is negative 63 plus 14 is greater than or equal to 0. 49 minus 63 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 14 is equal to 0. So 0 is less than or equal to 0. So therefore, the solution set is true. Tama sa negative 7. So this one is correct. How about yung nasa gitna? Try tayo nung nasa gitna. Let's try negative 5. So nasa gitna siya ng negative 7 and negative 2. So magiging negative 5 raised to the second power plus 9 times negative 5 plus 14 is less than or equal to 0. Negative 5 to the second power is positive 25. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45 plus 14 is less than or equal to 0. 25 minus 45 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 14 is negative 6. So we have negative 6 is less than or equal to 0. So tama yung negative 5. So therefore, itong mga values nga na to, yung negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, yun yung mga solution set natin. At yung mga numbers na naandito, yung negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, at yung negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, to the negative infinity, hindi siya kasama sa ating solution set. So try lang tayo ng isa. Let's try negative 1. So negative 1 to the second power plus 9 times negative 1 plus 14 is less than or equal to 0. So negative 1 to the second power is positive 1. 9 times negative 1 is negative 9 plus 14 less than or equal to 0. 1 minus 9 is negative 8. 8 plus 14, negative 8 plus 14 is equal to positive 6. So 6 less than or equal to 0, mali siya, no? Hindi nag-satisfy. So therefore, false nga lahat yung mga naan dito. Then, pag sinulat na natin yung mga solution set natin, ito yung set notation natin, x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 7, but less than or equal to negative 2. For the interval notation, the values of x from negative 7 to negative 2. Let's solve our last example. So we have x squared plus 9x plus 14 is less than 0. So ganun pa din yung magiging boundary points natin. X is equal to negative 7 and x is equal to negative 2. Tingnan natin kung ano yung mangyayari sa ating solution set if yung inequality symbol natin ay less than. So pag less than yung symbol natin, the values are included except negative 7 and negative 2. So yung mga values na naandito in between negative 7 and negative 2 ay kasama sa ating solution set. Ito namang mga values na naandito simula negative 2, negative 1, 0, pataas ay hindi kasama sa ating solution set. Pati yung negative 7, negative 8, negative 9 pababa ay hindi rin kasama sa ating solution set. So kapag less than ang inequality symbol natin, yung mga numbers na naandito sa gitna ng nakuha nating boundary points ay yun yung magiging solution set natin. So pag sinulat na natin yung solution set natin, so for the set notation, x such that x is greater than negative 7 but less than negative 2. And for the interval notation, the values of x are between negative 7 and negative 2.